Hello, how are you guys doing? Welcome back to Rule of Two Review. So this topic I've actually had in my head for probably a couple of weeks or maybe even a couple of months. I think it's pretty important, and I actually did a surprise live stream a couple of days ago, and in that live stream I had a user actually ask me a question pretty much about this exact same topic. And I feel so terrible, I cannot remember the name of that user, so I apologize. If and when you watch this video, definitely call yourself out in the comments and I'll try to give you some recognition, because I appreciated the fact that you asked it. And I even mentioned when I discussed it in the live stream that I had been thinking about this for quite a while. So we all know that we are living as Nintendo fans and gamers in this wonderful new age of a successful Nintendo, a wildly flourishing Nintendo, and an incredibly successful console, the Nintendo Switch. I mean, we've brought it up a jillion times, and a lot of great other YouTubers and good friends of mine in the community are always talking about the same thing. It's a great thing to see. A lot of us were worried that Nintendo might not ever get a renaissance like this again after the unfortunate couple of years of the Wii U. And I will again remind you, I do love the Wii U. I supported it that whole time, and to this very day, I do love that console for the quality console and software that existed for it. But there is no doubt Nintendo made mistakes. They had poor marketing, the system wasn't powerful enough, the gamepad was awkward and cumbersome, and of course, the thing didn't sell. So with such a failure, Nintendo probably had to really pick themselves up off the ground, shake off all that crazy dirt, and really put their heads forward to do something special. And luckily, that's what's been happening. And so with Nintendo's new console, the Switch, being so successful and everything going so right for Nintendo, one of the other really great things that we have seen is amazing software sales. Obviously, Nintendo software was always going to sell, and it also helps that they've produced some of the best games they have ever made this year, in this first year of a brand new console cycle, which is so remarkably impressive, and we've all talked about that 1,000 times. It's kind of crazy, actually. But there's also been a lot of success on the third-party front. And again, a topic you've heard me talk about 114,000 other times before today. Third parties, we wanted them to show up on the Nintendo Switch. It took a while for it to happen. Now it's started to happen. We've got so much support. It's coming out of our ears at this point. We have so many games to look forward to. So many have started to release. These games are selling well. Everyone is seeing success on the Switch on a Nintendo console in a way that they haven't seen success on a Nintendo console in a very, very long time, if ever. And so everything is like sunshine and rainbows right now, man, for Nintendo and for the Switch and for gamers and for these third-party developers finally jumping on board with Nintendo. And it's great to see, but the real question is, will this all last? Now, I should clarify, it's not so much about whether this will, quote, last or not. More, is it going to level out? As you can tell by probably what the title of this video is going to be. I'm pretty sure that's what I'm going to name this video. Is this success? Is the third-party joy? Is all this software sales? Is the sales, even of the Nintendo Switch itself, ever going to level out? And if so, what does that mean? Would it truly be a bad thing? So first and foremost, the most important thing to touch on is just my opinion. This whole video is just my own opinion and speculation on what the future may hold. None of us can predict the future, so all we can do is just talk about it in a guess and use our own experience as gamers and Nintendo fans to guess what will happen. And so the first thing, will this success overall level out? And I'm going to say yes, absolutely that is going to happen, guys. And I know it's great and exciting to see all this awesome success for the Switch. First-party, third-party games are selling like crazy. Everyone loves it. Marketing's going nuts. Switches keep selling out over and over again. But yeah, eventually this stuff does calm down and level out, you guys. For anyone old enough, and it's not even that long ago, but I feel like I still have to preface it with that. For anyone old enough to remember when the Nintendo Wii came out in 2006, honestly, that was even more intense than what the Switch has been as far as what the demand was, how many people were interested in it, how much people were like going crazy to try to get Nintendo Wiis. There wasn't lotteries like there was in Japan, but there were people holding contests on the radio to try to hold your pee that actually sent a lady to the hospital. And we had South Park making videos about freezing Cartman into the future just to get a Nintendo Wii. And the fervor for the Nintendo Wii lasted for a very, very, very long time. Much farther than it's already been for the Nintendo Switch. And with the hype and the excitement for the Wii being that crazy, in my opinion, crazier in 2006 than we've seen for the Nintendo Switch today, eventually, a lot of us know, it did level out. It probably took about a year and a half, maybe 2 years before things started to calm down and level out. By that time, the Nintendo Wii was still successful. They were still selling. There were still some great games coming out for the console on a regular basis, even though there was a lot of the garbagey, crappy shovelware stuff coming out way too often as well. there was still enough of a steady trickle of quality games from Nintendo and a couple of other third parties that we were still seeing good things. And of course, it wasn't until about year 4 or 5 that things really started to kind of slow down and then eventually stop altogether and die before we got the announcement of the Wii U. But we did still see that leveling out last for probably 2 years or so before even that happened. So when we look at the Switch and we see the crazy success and everyone being so excited and trying to get Switches like crazy, and they've been selling out like crazy for a while, recently we've even already seen signs of everything leveling out, just like what happened with the Wii in year 2. We are starting to see a lot of people posting pictures, hey, my Best Buy or my Walmart or my Target has Switches. Like, it's becoming more common. I don't even think GameStops are selling out of Switches like they were even a few months ago. And there's obviously a lot of reasons for that. We know that Nintendo built a huge stock to have ready for when Super Mario Odyssey came out. That game is not even a month old, so of course, we're still kind of existing in this period where the Mario Odyssey stock and supply of Nintendo Switches is out there. But it's all leading to this idea that eventually everything kind of calms down. Now, what this also could mean, emphasis on the word could, you guys, you have to remember, we're only talking about speculation and guessing here. But what this also could mean is that pretty soon down the road, I'm going to say by late 2018, maybe early 2019. I'm just guessing a time frame here. At that time, we might also start to see the third-party sales start to slow down, or software sales as a whole. I mean, Nintendo's biggest and best stuff is going to sell. Fire Emblem will sell like crazy. Pokemon will sell like crazy. Metroid is going to sell like crazy. Any other big things, and Animal Crossing will sell like crazy. But as far as even Nintendo's mid-tier stuff and some of the biggest and most high-profile third-party titles and releases, especially the ones that are more last-gen remasters than brand new games, I think that we will start to see even those sales level out. Now, I do not think, when I state this, you guys, please understand, I don't think that they're going to all of a sudden start to tank or start to perform poorly. I think if Nintendo keeps up the momentum long enough to last throughout 2018, that as a whole, throughout the life of the Switch, no matter how long the console lasts, we will continually see solid sales of the console and solid sales of the best software as well. But I do think the crazy hype, the crazy fervor to run out and buy every single Switch game, every first-party game that releases on the Switch, every third-party high-profile game that releases on the Switch, every brand new indie game that releases on the Switch, right now, so many of us are going out of our way, and it's great to see, by the way, we're going out of our way to buy every single possible thing we can get. We want to gobble up all the great content and games on the Nintendo Switch because it's so cool to play them on the Switch. But eventually, that novelty will wear off. The excitement will wear off. It's a natural thing. It is not a bad thing, you guys. It is a natural thing. And when that happens, we're probably going to see some stagnant operations here. We're going to see some stagnant sales. And it's really a matter of when that happens and not so much if. And so near the end of this conversation here, I will just remind you guys that this doesn't have to necessarily be a bad thing. Now, if eventually, throughout this time period, maybe Nintendo starts to drop the ball in some ways, maybe the marketing or the games lineup slows down or starts to turn maybe a little bit more negative, suddenly we might see a decline in sales for the Nintendo Switch, which would most definitely lead into a definite decline in software sales. Now, for the third-party situation, that could start to hurt. If suddenly third-party companies realize, man, that was just a fad, that was just a fluke, you know, the hype and the excitement and people who own Nintendo consoles willing to run out and buy our games that we're porting, that has started to subside, and it was something that they were only into for a while it was new and while it was exciting, but now that everything has sort of calmed itself down, people don't seem to be into our games, and that might lead back into the same old tried and true damaged relationship between Nintendo and third parties, and it would suck to see that. The good news is, you guys, again, listen to me, I don't expect that to happen. I think Nintendo is prepared. They knew how to make a fantastic launch year. I think they're going to know how to make a fantastic year 2. I've discussed it many times on videos. And if they can continue at that into year 3, then I think that what'll happen is when the Nintendo Switch's excitement and success starts to level out, that everything will still be okay. And hopefully we'll have a very much repaired third-party relationship. Nintendo will have a lot of first-party games to fill out 2018 and a couple of big ones to fill out 2019. My opinion has been Pokemon and Metroid, as you guys know, but I guess we will just have to wait and see. And everything will hopefully just be hunky-dory. So yeah, kind of an interesting and fun topic to discuss. As I said on a video recently, I love talking about the future. I love predicting it, for anybody. I obviously spend the majority of my time on my videos talking about Nintendo, but I love it overall, and I've considered discussing the Xbox One X soon as well. I know, of course, you guys wouldn't be as interested in that, and I know people wouldn't probably tune into that video as much, but I do find it interesting, and it's a lot of fun. Luckily, I get to do the occasional podcast, which allows me to do that stuff as well. I'm probably going to be featured on the Spawncast quite a bit more. We've discussed that a little bit, and he's invited me on as a pseudo-regular guest, John has, and that becomes a great avenue for me to discuss a lot of non-Nintendo stuff as well, because I have tons of opinions and tons of experience with the entire gaming industry and all the different companies and their consoles. So I love being able to predict the future for anybody. But obviously Nintendo is the really exciting thing, and they're also my favorite company, and gosh darn do I love that Switch, so I want to see it be successful for as long as possible before it does eventually level out, because like I said, that is inevitable. It's going to happen, and it's a matter of when, and it's a matter of if Nintendo can maintain the right kind of excitement so that when things level out, no one starts to lose money and it doesn't become a bad thing. So that's it for today, guys. Tell me what you think about this. Do you expect the Nintendo Switch hype and the software sales to eventually level out? If you do you think it will be a bad thing, or do you think that this is crazy and it'll never level out, and the Nintendo Switch is going to be the only console Nintendo ever needs to make between now and the end of time because it's always going to be exciting for people? So discuss your thoughts and opinions and feelings below. Thanks, of course, as always, for tuning in, guys. This is Rob of Rule of Two Review, and I will catch you next time on another video.